Hello, and now today we're doing Unit 7B, Rates and Percents as Ratios. You've talked a little bit about ratios in the previous unit, and now we're going to do a little bit of work with them, sort of putting ratios in the real world. Okay. The big thing between a rate and a ratio is ratios do not have any units. If I say 2 to 3, that's a ratio, but you notice there's no units on it. Whereas rates have units. Let's talk about some common rates that we know about. Miles per hour. Miles per hour is a rate. If I'm going 60 miles per hour and I drive for 2 hours, I went 120 miles. Hours per week that you might work, and maybe you have a 2-week cycle to get a paycheck. Students per school bus. If I can fit 66 students on a school bus and I have 3 buses, I can take 198 students somewhere. And price per pound. I bet you use this one all the time in the grocery store. If it's $1.10 per pound and I'm buying 4 pounds of it, how much am I paying? You can do that one in your head. So we're looking at ratios. Rates is basically a ratio that has a unit on it, and we can multiply in one direction and we can divide in the other direction, and most of us can do that in our heads. You just never knew what it was called before, and now you know what it's called. Let's talk about percents as a ratio. A percent is a ratio that has a fixed number, and the fixed number is 100. So if I were able to cut this pepperoni pizza into 100 pieces, I could then talk about what percent of the pizza I'm eating. So 1/4 of the pizza would be 25 pieces out of those 100 pieces, or 25% of the entire pizza. Another place that I like to talk about percents, and students instinctively recognize this, is let's talk about the weather report. If there is a 20% chance that it's going to rain today, what is the chance that it will not rain? Well, it's 80%. You can do that in your head because instinctively you know it's out of 100, and that's the same idea. When we're converting decimals and fractions and percents, we can convert those all across because rates are ratios are percents in the proper format. If I have a percent number and I divide it by 100, I'll get a fraction. If I have a fraction and I actually do the division, I'll get a decimal. Let's see what that looks like. Let's say 73% of Americans have not read a book in the last month. Ooh. Not good. But 73%, we're down here on our percent triangle. We can divide that by 100 to get a fraction, which we've done here, 73 over 100. And then that fraction, we can actually do the division to get a decimal. 73 divided by 100 is 0.73. These are all equivalent ideas. They're just expressed differently or written differently, and they can be freely converted from one to the other. And that's talking about rates and percents as ratios.